so this is What If Deku Was Raised by Predators Part 2. So guys, basically, I'm sorry I didn't post last night. I did post last night, What If Deku Went to Monster School Part 2. I posted that last night, and I'm really sorry I haven't been posting a lot lately because, well, high school started up. I'm not having enough time. Sorry, I'm not having enough time. A bunch of other stuff's happening, but basically, I've got everything sorted out. Everything's smoothed out. Also, the main thing, I got a new phone, and the storage is kind of lightly trash on it. And if you might see some differentiations between all my videos, you know, I'm recording on my old phone, so I have enough storage to post and edit a video and make it. So yeah, like once or twice a week, you might get a what if from my better phone with better quality and a better, microphone. But for now, we're just gonna be doing it on my old phone. So let's get right into it, guys. So last time I left off where Deku was basically went back to his spaceship, or went back to his fake house for people to notice or to think that he was, living on Earth before he got, into UA. Now, basically what happened is Deku would have gone back to UA the second day, as he would have walked into class giving Bakugo a snarl. As he would have walked past him flirting with other girls in the class, especially Ochaku, a little bit. Now you guys can decide who would be the main ship. I'm pretty sure last time I said it was Ochaku, but just correct me in the comments. So what happened is Deku would have sat down as the class would have continued. But eventually it would have been interrupted by the almighty All Might. As All Might would have told pretty much the group to pretty much get ready in their hero costumes, and they would have pressed the button as Deku's hero costume wouldn't be there, as he would have had his own hero costume that he would have brought, because pretty much the school said you had to have a hero costume. So Deku's hero costume would just be a armor from his, mini arsenal, and his favorite armor out of his mini Predator type outfits. Now, I was going to use the armor in the thumbnail that you see, but I feel like that would be a little bit too anime-like and not as Predator. So I went for the more, let's say, a more type of, so I wanted the suit to be a little bit just more grounded, and I didn't want it to be too different from the Predator armor. So Deku has the same armor from the Predator 2020 movie, the Predator with the human DNA they found. Now that movie, me personally, it was mediocre. It wasn't the worst, but it was mediocre. And near the ending though, like the end credit scene with the Predator killer, that was just laughable. I mean, that was some like basement type CGI. That's some CGI a freaking 16-year-old could make in about like 2 weeks. Like it was just horrible. But what happened is we would see Deku put on this armor as he would have gotten ready for the combat training, and Deku's arsenal being pretty good. Now he would have the same arsenal as the original Predator from the movie, plus a couple extra, more primal and more pretty much ancient type weapons and tech that the Predators have. Now as well, Deku would have gone with the rest of the class as they would have started with their combat training. Deku still being teamed up with Ochaku, going up against Bakugo and Ida, as they would have started. The match would have started and they would have started to fight each other. Deku would have gotten ready and he would have activated his mask. Him rushing off in the danger, telling Ochaku to go up there and try to keep Bakugo and Ida busy as he tries to get to the bomb without being detected. As Deku turns on his cloak device as he jumps up in the stairs left and right, getting past and through the stairs as fast as possible. As he's jumping through the stairs, he bumps into Bakugo. As Bakugo notices him, seeing the reflection of the light bounce off of Deku, seeing the silhouette of him running by, as he throws an explosion off instinct as he pretty much pushes Deku through a wall. Deku's cloaking turns off as he falls through on the ground, as Ochaku is just meanwhile running up the stairs trying to get to the top, floor. As pretty much Deku gets up as he pretty much cracks or Garls. I don't remember what predators do. I think click. But basically what happened is he would get up as Deku would have activated his wrist mounted pretty much blade. As he would have gotten into a fighting position with Bakugo, as Bakugo would have contradicting explosions. As he would start to throw explosions left and right towards Deku, as Deku would have started to dodge them profusively for going backflips, somersaults, and other things like that. As Deku would eventually got a few cuts into Bakugo, as Bakugo would have had a lot of deep cuts on his legs and arms, as Bakugo would have gotten enough and would have pulled both of his goblins at the same time, surprisingly, right on Deku. As Deku would have tried to get out of the way as fast as possible, but him getting hit with a little bit of the blast radius, as he would have been pushed upwards because the explosion would have been kind of tilted upwards, as Deku would have been pushed upwards all the way through the ceiling, eventually hitting the top room where Ida is. As Deku would have but would have been pushed through the ceiling, falling or appearing right in front of, well, Ida, as Ida's running the bomb away from Ochaku. As he dodges Deku mid-air, as Ida keeps on running away from Ochaku, trying to keep the bomb away. As Deku falls down to the ground, as Bakugo follows him, propelling himself through the holes Deku left behind when he was blown up. As Deku is kind of on the ground, playing dead, as Bakugo pretty much tries to throw an explosion towards Ochaku to keep her down. As Deku gets up as fast as possible, as he does a sweep kick on Bakugo falling flat on his face, as Bakugo falls down to the floor, as Deku grabs Bakugo and chucks him into a nearby wall with superhuman strength, as he punches Ida straight in the noggin, as Ida runs by him trying to do a speed rush, as Ida gets pounced down, or just straight up get gutted down, bro. I mean, like, he does a little bit of a punch to the face, and then Deku in midair, as Ida's falling, he does a gut punch. So Ida pretty much is out for the count. Bakugo gets up, throwing another explosion towards Deku, as Deku dodges it with minimal ease. As Deku grabs a piece of rubble, about as big as a, motorcycle helmet, as he chucks it as hard as he can towards Bakugo. As Bakugo gets hit in the arm with it, as his arm instantly cracks and shatters, as Bakugo falls onto the ground, yelling out in pain. As Bakugo is kicked out of his misery, or kicked unconscious by Deku, as he's screaming in pain, as Deku wins the match, and Bakugo and Ida are, done. Hero team wins, villain team loses. Now what happened after that, Deku would have been scolded a little bit by Aizawa, saying it was a really brutal and, just say, barbaric way of winning. But, well, pretty much All Might would have understand that barbaric winning and playing by no rules wins and saves lives in other situations. As All Might doesn't say that out loud and doesn't really think it or, well, believe it that much, but doesn't believe it enough to give Deku a pass. So what happened is, after that, Deku would have gone back to his spaceship, as he would have been crafting some more weapons and making other type of machinery and just tweaking on his tech. As eventually he would have heard thumping, as Deku would have looked around. As Deku would have opened up the back, pretty much carriage, not the back carriage, but the back part of his spacecraft, as he would have looked around in the forest area, him looking into the forest, as he would have been in like a street clothes outfit, basically sweatpants with no shoes or socks, and a shirt saying "My Hero" on it, that's black, as he would have had nothing really else on, as he would just be lounging outfits. As Deku would have looked around, as out of nowhere Deku would have been kicked into a nearby tree, as Deku would have gotten up as fast as possible, him taking a nearby pretty much branch and pretty much pressing a button on it, it turned into a Baki stick. Basically a Kobe stick. Basically what happens is Deku did spot and plant multiple different predator type weapons in the form of trees and also pretty much plant life like pine cones and pretty much sticks and stuff like that around his spacecraft. So if he was ever caught off guard or caught lacking outside his spacecraft, he wasn't caught lacking. So basically Deku would have gotten on his copy stick, as he would have started to look around, trying to figure out who kicked him or who punched him into the tree. As out of nowhere, Deku would have looked up, as he would have seen a 7-foot tall predator grab Deku by the arm, as Deku would have looked at him and him stabbing him instantly in the chest, as the predator would have fell back, as the predator would have looked at Deku, kicking him into a nearby tree again, as the predator would have started to rustle right towards Deku. As Deku decided to dodge it more and more, Deku seen that the predator had black, scaly skin, and looked like it wasn't all the way there, like it was rabid, as it had no real weapons, just having pieces of ripped up fabric on it. It being stronger and faster than other predators he's fought on, pretty much the planet, and basically him running around trying to get away from it as fast as possible. As this predator would have been feral, some sort of disease would have gotten to it. As Deku would eventually throw a Baki stick, pretty much spear champion, athlete. Oh my gosh, bro. Sorry, Olympic style. As he would have thrown it straight up, spear tossing it right into the predator's forehead. As the predator would have dropped dead. As he would have gotten up, its bones cracking and reforming as his head would have started to regrow. Its Baki stick would have been big enough to pretty much splatter its brains, because it would have gone right through its head. As the Baki stick would have been stuck on the tree behind the feral predator, as the predator would have grabbed Deku and they would have been on a cliffside, as Deku would have been pushed off the side or the edge. As Deku would have grabbed a piece of rock on the cliffside, keeping him, pretty much on the edge, as he would have tried to climb up, but the predator going to kick him off, as this feral predator would have been stopped by some sort of blast from a nearby predator, taking it out as quick as possible, it being disintegrated. As Deku would have looked around, as he would have seen pretty much, one of his best friends on the planet before he left. We were going to call this predator Big Red. Now, pretty much, Big Red, what was it? Oh, Wolf Predator. So basically this Wolf Predator in this canon would have been a descendant of the Predator from Predator vs. Aliens. That movie, Predator vs. Aliens, with them going to the, pretty much temple or pretty much pyramid underneath the snow caverns in that Predator vs. Aliens movie. That one with the queen and the whole big fight scene with the queen on the edge of the snow pretty much exploration area, so like that. Basically what happened is, this wolf predator would have been the descendant of that, being about the same age as Deku in predator years, as he would have, not predator years, but it would have been about the same height and width of Deku, but a little bit taller. As Deku would have looked at him, basically saying old friend, as his old friend would have helped him up off the pretty much cliff, as he would have told him that it's been something going on the planet, as he says that what's going on is that it's some sort of virus infecting predators outside of our planet everywhere. Now I'm pretty sure you're immune to it because your human DNA is fighting the virus, because you should have it already. You've stepped foot on Earth and you've been here longer than a couple days. So what Deku asks is, what is this virus even called? As he says, it's some sort of virus, they haven't had a name for it, but it's some sort of virus that attacks predators in their cells and makes them feral, like, humans, zombies, as humans call it, zombies. I think that's what they call it. Am I right, Izuku? As Deku says, yes, you're right. And so basically, Deku. I think, yeah, Deku. As he just says Deku, because Deku did keep in touch with his friend on Earth on those 10 months. So, yeah. So, what happened is, Deku is told to stay clear, as it is some feral, pretty much predators that still attain their memories and are out for blood for any predators they can find. And the only mission they have is to hunt down their own species or other alien-like creatures and murder them. As he says, it's about 5 predators on planet Earth around the world, eating and feasting on humans, causing a big ruckus. And we cannot have humans figure out aliens exist or predators exist, because, they're on the verge of space travel already, Asuka Midoriya. So we need to stay clear of them. So what happens is, Deku says, okay, as Deku is given a task to track down these predators and to keep them in check and then try to take them out as fast as possible. As Wolf walks off, as he says, I'll be back in a couple of months or maybe a year. I don't know what happens on Earth's timeline or how many suns and moons they have, but I'll be back as fast as I can. So as pretty much Wolf leaves, Deku is left there thinking about what's going on. Why is this virus hitting the predator race now? What's going on? And who made it? As Wolf did mention that the virus couldn't have been natural because it was engineered specifically for predators. So, yeah. So I'm going to leave it off here, guys. So part 3 and the rest of the series is going to be interesting because we're going to figure out who's causing the predators and who's trying to pit them out of extinction and stuff like that. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. And as always, guys, have a blessed day.